Jordan of the Critical Cat here with Melissa Demils of Victoria Citizens Against Rodeo Events. Melissa, huge day today, and obviously the last few days have been there's been some apprehension about this, but can you tell people the big news?
Yeah, well, last night the organizers of the Luxton Rodeo issued a press release stating that the rodeo has been canceled and that they're going to go ahead with the other community events that they do, the fair and the dance and stuff, but the rodeo is no more in our community.
It's fantastic. Congratulations. I mean, obviously, the press release that they've put out is that it's due to economic reasons, that it's not viable anymore to have the rodeo. Of course, a big part of that was much due, I think we can believe that from your campaigning again with the sponsors of the rodeo and to take that funding away from them.
Yeah, I think we'd be naive to think we had no impact.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure there was multiple factors. Sponsorship was probably one of them. I mean, obviously I'm not privy to the rodeo's inner workings, but regardless, it's a win for the animals, and those inhumane events aren't going to happen here anymore, and it's one less stop those animals have to make. And I hope it's the first one of many rodeos that are going to close down in the coming years as people's perceptions change.
Yeah, and it's so important, right, that people recognize the effect that the activists did have in this instance, and across, wherever rodeos are happening, that activists can make a difference by applying pressure, right, staying out there when the events are going on in their communities and such. And of course, your husband's photos, Matt's photos, were extremely powerful in communicating just how torturous and inhumane these events were, especially the calf roping, of course. That was a really powerful image, right, of the calf being pulled through the dirt with the rope around its neck. How did you see, or how did you feel public perception changed once you started campaigning with those images and such to really get the message out about how much the animals suffered?
Yeah, I think the photos made a big difference. I don't think a lot of people locally realized what happened inside the rodeo ring. We're not a ranching community. There isn't a rodeo history here that you would find, say, in the prairies. And I think a lot of people, once they started to realize what took place in that small event, that was all the contestants were from other places. There was nobody locally that took part in those events. A lot of people were really surprised, and the support for our group just grew. And so I think those photos did make a big difference. And another thing those photos demonstrated was that the stands were not packed at this event. There were people there, but it was not a full sellout by any stretch of the imagination. And I think by educating people, that may have brought some of their attendance down. People that may have gone to check it out that decided, this isn't for me.
Yeah, and I mean, all the demonstrators outside, I mean, there's so many people that had to walk through that and witness, and obviously a lot of information got handed out. And a lot of educational work was done with the community, and I think there's a lot of positive support from people coming in as well, right?
I think we got more positive support than we did negative comments from people locally, for sure. And people even going to the fair, they didn't even know there was a rodeo happening there because it was such a small part of that community event.
Yeah.
And as well, we had people come out afterwards that had decided to pay the money, go in and see the rodeo, and were just appalled with what they saw. And they actually came right out, found us, signed our petition, and carried on their way. So.
Right. And so this originally came up on Friday. So tell us a little bit about just how it happened.
Last week we realized that the Luxton Rodeo wasn't on the CPRA national schedule of rodeos, and at this point in the year they should have been listed if things were going ahead. So we were starting to wonder what's going on, why aren't they listed, something's not right. So we started making some calls and putting out some feelers trying to find out, and we did hear that local organizers had stated that it was canceled, and then the media started asking questions and trying to find out what was going on, and it took a couple days. They didn't seem to really want to put out a statement or talk to anybody. I'm not sure why, if they just weren't prepared or why, but last night, I believe it was around 5 p.m., they issued the formal media release. And the phone started ringing this morning, so yeah.
It's been a busy day for you.
It has been a busy day, but it's a good busy. It's great to be able to talk to people about the end of this stuff taking place up the street from here. So.
Yeah, of course, and I mean, because we see so many of these issues drag on, and various city councils aren't willing to take those stands and really hold themselves accountable for allowing this type of violence to continue in the communities and such. And so it's really up to the activists to just be persistent, and these organizations seem to hope that they'll just go away eventually, right? And so you've been out there for 3 years,
3 years.
doing that, and to be successful after that amount of time is incredible. So definitely I think a lot of credit is due to VCARE and your work, and we definitely want to thank you for that. What does this mean for VCARE though? Now that the rodeo's gone, I mean, what is that? Where do you go from here?
Well, I'm not sure. We'll sort of let this go this week and see. I think that the radio stations have some interviews scheduled with rodeo and folks. The important thing I think is to make sure that it doesn't come back. I think once an event is canceled like this, the fact that it might come back is probably pretty slim.
Yeah.
But I mean, it is possible. I mean, there is a rodeo fairgrounds. They've went for 39 years.
Yeah.
If it is economic reasons, you wouldn't think that's going to change in the next couple of years. But so I want to make sure that we stay on top of that and maybe talk to City Council again and say, look, the rodeo's gone. Why don't we put this bylaw in now to prevent it from coming back? So we just want to make sure that we put measures into place so that it doesn't return.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and it'd be hard to imagine, you're right, seeing it come back, but it's good to stay vigilant on top of that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Do you think you'll work with other organizations across the country to continue to just raise awareness as well?
Yeah, I've been talking with the Vancouver Humane Society because we work together on this issue, and they've already had some changes made at the Cloverdale Rodeo over there. There's another large rodeo over there in Abbotsford that has seemed to have flown under the radar for quite a while, so that's something that maybe we can look for people over in that community that we can help, and I'm happy to talk to anybody across the country that's trying to do stuff like this and offer assistance or information on what we've done here in Victoria.
Yeah, and I'm sure people will be interested in seeing that from the success, right? Wanting to know kind of what sort of tactics work and stuff. So what are you going to do this May long weekend now?
Well, my children,
going to Disneyland?
My children are very excited actually at the prospect that they might be allowed to go to the fair this year because there is no longer a rodeo there.
There you go.
And they're also hoping that maybe Mom will join them camping on May long weekend because I have not been with them the last few years when they've gone camping. So I don't know what we're going to do this May long weekend, but at this point it doesn't look like we're going to be standing outside the rodeo protesting. So
that's right. So you go inside, have some fun. And you know that you're not supporting, obviously, that industry that is so harmful to animals all over the world. I guess anything else you want to add in terms of how, when looking at how animals are treated in this industry, what do you think's the most important thing for people to remember when they see the rodeos, other places still going on? I mean, calf roping, of course, was a big focus here in Victoria, or at Luxton, and what kind of...
I think one of the important things for people to remember is when you talk to rodeo supporters, they tend to talk about how wonderfully the animals are taken care of, and I can't dispute that these animals are well fed and they're given care because they need to perform. So they need to be healthy in order to perform, and I understand that. What I think some of the rodeo supporters don't see is that where we have real issue is what happens inside the rodeo ring itself.
Yeah.
And I don't care if the event's only 10 seconds, exposing an animal to that kind of fear and stress and risking injuries and death, which the rodeo community doesn't dispute. I mean, they can't dispute. They report the injuries, they report the deaths because they have to their governing bodies. These things happen. So no one's saying that these animals are treated horribly back at the ranch when they're not working.
Yeah.
It's inside that rodeo ring, and what's going on is not okay. And the real difference is people who don't support it, we don't believe animals should be used for our entertainment.
Yeah.
And some people seem to think that's okay, and that's a very big difference in opinion. And for people to really think about those things, I think that public perception's changing and the way people view animals, whether it's rodeo or marine theme parks or Vancouver Aquarium or all these things, it's changing. People are getting educated, and it's important that we speak out when we see these things, because if we don't, no one's going to do it, and it'll just quietly keep happening up the street or in the neighboring town or wherever. So, you know, if you don't feel right about something,
That's right.
you can do something about it.
Yeah, what's that quote? Evil flourishes when good people are silent.
That's right.
So,
Yeah.
so, you know, we need to speak up, definitely.
Yeah.
Thank you so much again, Melissa. Thank you for an incredible job on this campaign against Luxton Pro Rodeo for the last 3 years, and congratulations on the success. And obviously, also thank you to all the supporters who came out and supported VCARE over the years as well, and the sponsors who pulled their funding from Luxton Pro Rodeo and saw that there was something ethically wrong with putting animals through these inhumane events.